What's up, Scott? How's it going, brother?
Hey, man, how are you?
Woo! Made it.
Yeah, I did, man. It's snowing here, so I don't know how my Wi-Fi is gonna go, but I think we should be okay. How you doing, man?
Cool, great. Yeah, just checking in from Buffalo, New York. It's supposed to snow like 3 to 6 inches tomorrow.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, it always snows in Buffalo, New York.
Where are you right now?
I'm in St. Louis, Missouri right now.
Ah, all right.
We have a house in St. Louis, Missouri, but I spend most of my time in Atlanta, Georgia. My partner and I have a house there as well, but this was the place I had before I met her, and then we moved in together in Atlanta.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
You do look very familiar. I've seen you. I've been up front and with the dreads and everything. I would have thought you were a guitar tech or something, but
I am a guitar tech.
Yeah. What's that?
I am a guitar tech.
You are the guitar tech. Okay, I thought I see you with the guitars too.
Yeah. The guitar. I've been a guitar tech for the better part of 25 years. That's where everything started for me, and I still am a guitar tech, all the time. I've been with Alice for about it's coming up on 12 years, and but I'm also Justin Chancellor is a tech from Tool as well, and I did Rob Zombie for years, and I did band Seether for 10 years. Yeah, so I've been I'm a guitar tech first and a photographer second, believe it or not.
Oh, no shit. Well, that's
yeah.
No wonder I recognize you, Scott. We have here SCOTTY DACHROEDEN, guitar tech and world-renowned photographer as well. I just want to say, man, cheers to you, and thanks so much for joining. Yeah, can you hear me? Yo.
Nope, I kind of lost you there for a second. It's like I said, it's probably me. Your connection is unstable, it says. Yeah, so's my life. All right. I think you just introduced me, and it sounded like you were saying nice things, so thank you.
Yes, they were all very nice things. Cheers, man.
Oh, cheers. Hey.
There you go.
It's got alcohol in it, right? Oh, man. Don't do that.
Hey, whatever works. Whatever works.
Yeah.
I did my second vaccine. Oh, shit.
All right. Sorry about that. Hey, don't try that at home, kids. It's a really bad idea. Okay. All right. What were you saying? Sorry.
Yeah. Well, are you all right? Was that purpose here? What's going on there?
Come on, I'm just messing with you. You know that.
Yeah. That's hilarious, man. Yeah. Well, second vaccine is happening for me on Tuesday, Scotty, and
excellent.
Pretty excited for that. And it's just one more step closer to seeing live rock and roll music. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, I hope so. I'm really itching to get back to it, man. I've been doing it my whole life. I don't know how to do anything else, so it'd be really nice if it fired back up again and I go back to work.
Yes. How you been doing the past year and a half? All right, hanging in there?
Yeah. I mean, as well as you can be. I think I survived a little better than a lot of people, but still pretty hard. I've got other interests and stuff outside of the music.
Yep.
Not.
I think I lost you again here.
But yeah, it's been rough. My partner runs a venue in Atlanta as well, so she got shut off the same time. I Tool for 2 shows in, and they pulled the plug on us, and we all went home. And
yeah,
I get home to my partner saying, "Well, they just closed my venue down as well." So we just kind of stared at each other and went, "What are we gonna do?"
Was that the Tabernacle or the Masquerade in Atlanta?
It's the Masquerade. She runs the Masquerade.
No kidding. Okay. Yeah, the Masquerade. Yeah. I've been there once. I saw a band called I Wrestled a Bear once there years back. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, was it the old Masquerade at 695? Was it an old building, or was it the new one where that's like in a strip mall.
We're talking 2011, 2012, so it's
Okay, so it's the old one. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the original Masquerade. That's since been cut down and turned into condominiums or something. And then they moved the whole operation into the city, and it's basically in a giant mall. But it's still operating the same. Still multiple bands a night. Well, before the pandemic.
Awesome. And what's her name, Scott?
And what did you say there? I could have again. I think I lost you.
Yeah, I got
All
you.
right. Sorry. Can you repeat what you said?
Yeah, that's all right. What is your partner's name?
Her name's Irina.
Irina. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Well,
yeah, she's been doing the Masquerade for, man, I guess it's been probably like 3 or 4 years now.
rock and roll. Well, hopefully we're just all one step closer in this year in 2021 to just getting back into it, man. I can't wait either. But top of every episode, I'd like to start off with a little musical fact of the day. And today's 420. I had to see what birthdays are on 420. And if this name rings a bell, Gabry Ponte, the fella of Eiffel 65 with that blue Dabba Dee Dabba Da song.
Oh yeah. Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, he's 43. Shout out to Steve Wood there with the Eiffel 65. And then Mike Portnoy of formerly of Dream Theater and Metal Allegiance and all that. So many projects. He's 54 today.
Oh wow.
Yeah. You ever meet Mike Portnoy before?
Man, I don't know that I ever met. I don't think so. If I did, I don't remember it. But it's definitely possible. I've been out here for a long time, and you meet a lot of people. I don't remember if I've actually met Mike or not.
Man, don't your dreads go down to like your knees, your ankles or something? I remember them being very long, Scotty.
My dreads are about 6 inches off the ground right now. My girlfriend, my partner, has told me that she will leave me when they touch the ground. So we're gonna test her, see what happens. You know?
How long you been growing those out, man?
26 years.
Shit.
Yeah, it's a long time. It's a long time to have one hairstyle.
You have any organisms that you kind of feed back there? Some bird seed or something?
Oh yeah. There's always something living in there. It's hard to say. Snakes, birds, spiders, all kinds of things. Hence the reason my girl is, not happy. But
gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, this month is Alice in Chains is the band I'm talking about this month. Alice in April, and I wanted to get on a bunch of people from their past and present. On I Ask No One. So far we've had Nick Terzo on. He's a music executive who signed them to Columbia back in '89.
Right.
Also Hubba Hubba, Darren Floughton of the Seattle Tattoo Emporium, who did work on Jerry. I want to say it was late '90s.
Yeah,
music bank time. And then Paul Rockman, which was last week. He's the music video director for Man in Box and the original Sea of Sorrow, and Pantera, Cowboys from Hell, and Sepultura Territory. The list goes on. That was a really cool chat. But now, lucky enough to have Scotty to take the time to come chat a little bit. You're with Alice in Chains. You've been with them for, you said, 11 years. How did you get hooked to Alice, brother?
12 years. I guess 12 years.
12 years.
Okay, so I was working. I was doing an Audioslave tour where I was actually working for the band Seether. We were opening up for Audioslave, and we followed them around for a couple of months. And while out there, I met all their crew guys. It's a giant web. Once you meet people, everybody has a bunch of different gigs and stuff. But that particular time, Chris's guitar tech was a guy named Pete Lewis, and we just hit it off. He was a good guy, and he was fun to tour with. And when that finished and we all went our separate ways, as you do, and then he just called me up one time and said, do you have any interest in coming out and looking after Mike and Will with Alice? And I'd met Mike previously because my brother was the artist relations guy. Steve Duff was the artist relations guy for Ampeg Amplifiers for like 15 years. And I'd met, a lot of different artists through him and got gigs through him and stuff, and met Mike. And Mike was just like this sweetest, nicest human being on the planet. I was like, this guy's awesome. So when his name came up to work for him, I was like, oh, hell yeah, I'll work for him. He's rad, right? So, and that's how it started.
Wow. So your
They
first
just
tour must
showed
have
up
been
and
right around the time of Black Diamond Sky in 2010. Is that correct? If you remember?
Yeah. I basically did I did the first shows for Black Cubans Way to Blue, all of them. So the record wasn't even, I don't think it was even quite, no, it was completed, but it hadn't come out when I started. So we were gearing up to just do that campaign. But yeah, I did the Black Diamond Sky tour. It was rad. It was awesome.
Dude, that's one of my favorite. Me and my twin brother Ryan, he lives in Greece, Athens, Greece right now. I saw Alice in Athens when you guys were last through, and he got a few shirts for us, which was awesome. But
cool.
We saw, I think, Alice played the day after we graduated from a college, Flagler College in St. Augustine, Florida, and we were up front with our caps and gowns. And Christian, our tall buddy, he made a flag, and Kinney at the end of the show put a cigarette in his mouth, and he took the flag, put it on the mic stand, and then Jerry kind of danced with it. And is there a St. Augustine Alice in Chains flag in their jam room? I'm just curious, man.
That there very well could be, man. I usually collect a lot of that stuff. If it ends up on the stage, I'll pull it because Mike likes to collect a lot of that stuff, and I collect a lot of the stuff that the band doesn't. If they don't take it, I usually take it, and it ends up somewhere. I'll pin it up on a band, on the walls of the jam room or something like that. Just to keep it. It's cool. People throw some interesting stuff on stage.
Yeah, we saw that
watches, dog tag.
Yeah. My brother and I saw that tour 4 times in 5 months there. We were so stoked on Alice and on the new record, Black Is Way to Blue, and then coming back. We were in Glens Falls, and my brother Ryan, he had a hairline split in his appendix in the show. Didn't know about it, and it was just kind of a shitstorm that whole entire summer. He was on IV. So whenever the time comes that we actually get to meet the guys, I know I've met Sean a few times and Mike. That's one thing I want to tell Jerry about Ryan. He had appendicitis at that Glen Falls show, and we ended up in bumfuck Malta, New York for the night, and it was just it was a crazy one. But you working with Alice, what do you enjoy most about working with the band? I mean, Mike Inez, he does seem like a really nice ass guy.
Dude, he's the best, man. He's one of my best friends. He's just a great human being. He loves what he does. He loves his fans. He'll take time to speak to anybody pretty much that wants to speak to him, and he shakes hands with the local crew guys, as he walks through the venue. Hey, what's up? I'm Mike, the bass player, and people are just kind of like gobsmacked by the idea that this guy who's he's a pretty big deal is just kind of like that nice, and he truly is that nice. Not fake. It's not anything goofy like that. He's a really nice dude, man. He's really fun. It's probably some of the reason that I've lasted so long with him is that we get along really, really well. I think our first conversation ever, pretty much when it was me working for him, he would just kind of came in. He was sort of joking, and he said, he's like, "Oh, you don't have to worry about too much, about me too much. I'm not a very good bass player." And I said, "I'm not a very good tech, so we should get along really well."
Yeah, 12 years later, rock and roll, brother.
12 years later, yeah. I've done some other gigs in between, and Alice's downtime. I've done Tool. I look after Justin with Tool, and who is also, I got lucky, man. I got 2 of the nicest people in rock and roll, and also, in my opinion, 2 of the best bass players in rock and roll. They're both just phenomenal. Everything about them is unique, and they're just great. They're great people. I couldn't have asked for better people to work for. Amazing. Yeah.
That's incredible. Tool saw them in 2014 in San Diego. Were you with the band around then, or was that before?
14. No, I don't think I was 14. I started working for them actually be close. About 5 years ago is when I started working with them.
Okay.
And then I did the album as well. I did Fear Inoculum as well.
Beautiful. Yeah, November 2019, my buddy Zach and I went up to Toronto. Amazing show. We were stage right just up on Justin's side there, and that's really awesome, man.
2019?
Yeah, it was 2019, right before the pandemic. It was Tool up in Toronto.
Shit, is that what we did? Oh no, I started about a week after that. Went back on again about a week after that. The guy that I was mentioning before, Pete Lewis, we swapped back and forth with that gig. He also does Rage Against the Machine. So it's kind of with these doing this for a living. I mean, you get hired on wherever you get hired on. When a band stops touring, you find another band to tour with. So a lot of us have multiple bands that we work for, and yeah, Pete's main two bands were Tool and Rage Against the Machine. And when he couldn't do Tool, I would do it. So we just like bounce back and forth. He's also the guy that got me the Alice gig and the Tool gig. So yeah, it's crazy.
Sounds like a really good dude. Well, he's going to be through. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I think I owe him some money.
Yeah, what happened there?
Yeah, he's gonna see this now and hit me up, I'm sure.
Well, next summer, Rage Against the Machine comes through Buffalo, New York with Run the Jewels. We'll be down there on the floor, me and about 5 of our buddies. And hopefully Tool gets to reschedule their summer show, and we'll see you in Buffalo, and if you haven't.
Man, I hope so. I want to.
Yeah.
Right now, I haven't heard any noise of them doing shows again. That's hard, man. That's gonna, they're so big. It's hard to put that many people in a room, they're not gonna let us do that for a while. I don't think we're gonna be able to do 20,000 people shows for a little while. So I think we're gonna have to test the waters with some sort of smaller shows until we can figure out what's gonna happen, because it's just, I don't know, 20,000 people is a lot of people,
It is
nobody wants to do it at half capacity.
Yeah, there's some states that have opened up concerts. I don't know how they're doing it or anything, but
I don't know how they're going to afford. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you, but I don't know how they're going to afford it. I mean, if we're going to run at half capacity, unless those tickets are outrageously expensive, it's like production and everything. Man, it costs a lot to put on a show. It costs a lot to take a band on tour. So having limited capacity is kind of a scary thought, But
right.
We'll see.
And I'm sure Jerry and Sean, I mean, they're just chomping at the bit. That MoPOP concert that you guys put on a few months back, man, that was that to me as an Alice fan was perfect. It was perfect. I was so glad that they were actually able to get honored in the way that they were able to, with Metallica playing Wood and Korn coming in and playing Wood, and some of the Nirvana guys playing, jamming with the Tad guys, the Dinosaur Jr. guys.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, the Fishbone performance was stunning. So good.
Yeah.
Just fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, that was an honor to be a part of, and it was really nice to see them get the accolades that they very much deserve. That band is, they're an iconic band, and they're fantastic. And to see all those people join in and go, hell yeah, they're fantastic, and like actually, give them their sort of due is cool. It's very cool,
Yeah, you were taking pictures around that time, Scotty, and I want to share a picture here real quick. Let's see. And you're at In Autonomy. You're at In Autonomy on Instagram, and I'll include a link to your page right below. So if you want to check out Scotty's badass work, man, go for it. Here we go. So here's Alice in chains in front of the Space Needle.
Yep.
And I mean, when you're taking this picture, I mean, this is Alice in chains in front of the Seattle Space Needle. Are they like, I know before they started recording their latest record, Rainier Fog, Mike Inez mentioned how there's a story on each intersection around that town.
Oh, yeah.
With their history there. What are they saying about the Space Needle? I mean, do you catch any stories around that particular area? It's like, oh, okay, whatever, take the picture.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of downtown, and those guys hung out in all of those bars and played all those small, venues around there. And that Space Needle, I mean, I talked him into that. We were doing that thing, and I was like, the friggin' Space Needle's outside. Let's go outside and take a photo. I mean, like, how can we not do it? It's like a no-brainer. You got to take a picture of a Seattle, an iconic Seattle band in front of the Space Needle. There you go. Yeah. So I dragged them outside, and we were debating back and forth whether should we wrap masks and all that kind of stuff, because it's just kind of but it's sort of a sign of the time. So I was like, put the masks on. Let's do it like that, because that's where we're at right now.
Yeah.
So dragged them around, did that, and it's cool. It actually turned out pretty good. It's a fun photo.
Yeah, with the masks in retrospect, that's a timestamp. Okay, it was that year. That's a good idea.
Yeah, kind of. Like there's a lot of times you want your stuff to, your photographs or whatever to be timeless, and then there's other times where you're like, no, this is the time and the place that this was happening, and we should represent that, and we represented that with kind of represented that with the masks. So it's how it was at the time. It's weird. We're going to look back at that, and hopefully we're going to look back at that and go, oh, man, remember Matt? With any luck, it's going to be such a thing of the past that we're not going to, hopefully we're not gonna be doing this forever is what I'm basically trying to say.
Hopefully, man. Is there an Alice in Chains concert that stands out, you know, when everyone was just on fire and locked in it, or maybe a tour that stands out to you that was the most enjoyable with the band?
Man, that band's on fire all the time. I'm
Yeah.
hard pressed to remember a show where they weren't great, where they weren't awesome, and you know, they work at it, man. That band rehearses, and they don't pardon my French, don't fuck around, man. They you know, if we're gonna do a couple of shows, we'll do a week's worth of rehearsals before we go out. They want it to be as good as it can be at all times. There's no half-assing ever. So the shows are all great, but I guess stand out when I kind of early on with me working with them, we went to South America, and they'd never been to South America, I don't think. So the crowd was just insane, and they kind of, you know, the crowd. So in South America, the crowd sings the guitar lines. So the entire crowd, I think we opened with "Damn That River," the entire crowd's going da 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 da, like they're singing it, and it's as loud as the music that's coming off the stage. So I think there was 85,000 people there, and it's the craziest. I just kind of got goosebumps thinking about it, and I remember Jerry just like ripping in, and he turns around, and he looks at me across the stage. I think we both simultaneously went, "Holy fuck!" Like it was just like, "Oh my god!" Right? The whole place was bouncing, and it was just. And then they sing all the solos, which, you know, puts a lot of pressure on Jerry because he's got nail in solos. Luckily he does, but yeah, because it just they sing everything, every word, every note. Yeah, that was and I've done, you know, Rock in Rio. I've done all of them, Reading, Leeds, MoPOP. I've done pretty much every festival, Rock and Park, Rock and Ring, just multiple times with even bigger crowds, but never seen a crowd reaction like that. Everybody was 100% in from the first note. It was rad. It was really cool. So that one.
South America. I've never been to South America. Someday I'd love to go check out Rock in Rio or Buenos Aires or something down there.
Oh man.
Right.
Yeah, just the most rabid fans, man. They're just so into it. It's like Beatlemania down there for everybody. You know, you just go down there, and it's just like, just come in hot. It's really cool.
You've been around the world so many times, and I'm sure you've had some pretty legendary days off with the bands that you've worked with, Rob Zombie, to Alice in Chains. But how about Alice? I see you ride motorcycles with Sean Kinney. That was a lot of fun. But is there a day off? You know, maybe your ideal day off with the band to go out, and that's really cool. You get to enjoy.
Yeah, I mean,
that you go through.
Man, there's always good days off with that band because they play cool places, play cool countries and cities and stuff. But again, South America, we all rented motorcycles and drove up into the Andes, and it was like. Sean, Duff, McKagen was there, and a couple of his guys from Loaded, and I think Mike from Faith No More was there as well. And we just rented bikes and rode up into the hills, and man, it was awesome. And to think that you're like riding these motorcycles in South America, the Andes, you know, and someone's paying you to do it is just amazing. You know, like you're literally being paid to do this cool thing on a day off. Riding bikes with Sean is always fun. We always crack up and have a good time and see some cool places. We've done it in a lot of countries in the world. And I hang out with Mike. Any day that I'm not riding a motorcycle with him, I'm pretty much hanging out with Mike Inez, and we're going to record stores and just checking out the city and meeting people and having a really good time. And then night times, you know, Jerry and I are playing pool and hanging out. So everybody is, they're cool. And it's cool to hang out. Well, we've all become like pretty good friends after, you know, this many years of being around each other. It's you don't have to be stuck in a, you know, group of people for a really long time. You're gonna eat each other and quit or get along really well.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. You were just talking about Jerry. It broke up there. What were some of the things that you do with Jerry on your days off? If it's just you two?
So when I first started with this band, I didn't really know a lot of people in the crew, and I don't know, I'm like a little bit of a loner anyway. My fun, you know, is finding I used to go on Yelp and find out which bar had the shittiest reviews in whatever city, and then I'd just go to that place. Like, this place is dangerous. I'm like, sounds like fun, and I'd go to these bars and hang out, and then Jerry asked somebody like, how come we never see Scott? Where is he at? And they're like, oh, he's, he's not at the sports bar. He's at some shitty little punk rock bar across town, And Jerry like started hitting me up and he was like, can I come with you? And I was like, I mean, I guess, and it's like, it's a little bit of a funny situation that it's like, do you take somebody like that to a dangerous bar, And the answer is usually no, you don't do anything like that. But he sort of like, was like, no, man, I like playing pool and I like hanging out. He doesn't drink. He just kind of likes to hang out and, do stuff. So, I just started texting him going, look, I'm going to go to this place. If you want to come, I'll either meet you over there or we can go jump in a cab or Uber or whatever and go do it. And that became our thing. So we play pool and, pinball and hang out. I still drink a little bit. He doesn't drink at all. And yeah, man, it's just like a good hang. He's a good dude. Really freaking pool player too. Kicks my ass all the time.
Yeah, it sounds it, man.
But it's still a lot of fun.
Well, Mike Inez sounds like the nicest guy in the band, and I would say maybe is Sean the funniest? Who's the funniest?
Sean's hilarious, man. That dude is hilarious. It's like a stand-up comedy routine half the time hanging out with him. And when we ride motorcycles, our helmets have comms on them, so him and I talk back and forth, and it's hard not to wreck sometimes. You're laughing so hard at some goofy thing that's happening, and he's awesome. He's hilarious.
Yeah, we were right behind the venue in K-Town, in Koreatown, at the Wiltern Theater in 2016, and
right now,
what's that? Okay.
You actually cut out there. I lost you for a second.
Yeah, it's all right. So Alice played in 2016. I think it was October. Played the Wiltern Theater in LA, Koreatown, and right behind the venue, my brother Leonard and we were just chatting with Sean Kinney, and I had my SDP muscle shirt on, and he was like imitating my muscles. He was just picking on me right there. He just chose me, so he just was picking on me, and then he must have been with a girl. I think her name was Cheryl or Sharon or something, and she was in a car pulling out of the venue, and she almost scraped up against the side of the wall of the Wiltern, and he just stopped right before we took the picture. He's like, Sharon, what the fuck? Shut the fuck, stop the fucking car, and that was pretty funny, just coming from a fan of Sean Kinney. He's one of my biggest influences, Sean and Dave Grohl, and of course fucking Lars Ulrich. But I got to ask you though, Jerry, when did he stop drinking? Was this a recent thing?
Oh, no, they stopped about right as I got on, actually.
Really?
Yeah, they all just were kind of like enough's enough. They've had enough sort of tragedy in their camp with all of that stuff.
Yes.
They were gonna get us, doing it. Get on with doing it right, and I don't want to say taking it more seriously, but definitely concentrating more on their music and their art and everything, and throwing all that sort of partying and stuff by the wayside. Yeah. And they're better for it in every way. They're just they're so together now. It's unreal. I don't know what it was like touring with them when they weren't, but I heard stories, but I wasn't there, so can't really comment on that. But they partied, before they got there.
Right, so, right. Well, you're taking pictures of Jerry in particular and of the band. I think it's some of the best photos I've ever seen live of Alice in Chains.
That's a very nice thing to say. Thank you.
And I mean that, Scotty. And just with the headbanging from Jerry, you get him, and you introduce little effects and colors here, but just even straight on, you get him headbanging, and it's the kind of picture I'm scrolling through Instagram, whatever, 2 a.m. at night, can't sleep. And I just kind of just stare at that. It's just, you got a really good, they're locked in and you're locked in. And I mean, how do you capture some of those photos, dude? I mean, how do you make yourself invisible to the band when you're shooting them? Even with Rob Zombie, but more so Alice in Chains. You guys have been with each other for so long. Is there a secret position that you go to at certain times of the song, or?
Well, I mean, you have to figure that I've seen the band 1,000 times, 1,000+ times. I've seen Alice in Chains play over 1,000 times. So I know, the parts of the songs where they tend to rock out a little bit more on. And you know, when you do, it's a little bit sort of unfair to some extent when you shoot a band all of the time, you know their quirks and you know what they're going to do, and they pull faces at you and give you the finger and like mess around with you and, you know, like try and grab you and stuff like that. You get really great photos that way because they're totally interacting with you and not in a way that they would ever interact with another photographer. It's just, so you get cool shots, and you you know, and I try to with anybody I shoot, I try to like watch a lot of videos, like watch a lot of YouTube videos and go, you know, I wonder if they're going to do this part of this song where everybody gets on the drum riser and they all rock out at the same time, because I want that photo, you know? So I do my research. If I'm going to shoot somebody I haven't shot before, I'll watch a lot of stuff and see what they're doing and where they're going and how they act. And that's all kinds of stuff like, hey, when the guy plays the guitar and he's standing in the stand, does he tend to be leaning this way or does he tend to be leaning this way? And that's the side of the stage I'll go to so I can get the shot that I want. So it's just, makes it, you know, you gotta do your research if you want to. You're only gonna get lucky so many times. And then after you get lucky, you gotta do some research and figure out, you know, how the band acts on stage so you can get that photo. I like action shots. I like the hair flippy, head bangy stuff because it looks cool to me. So, you know, I try and find those moments and get them.
Yeah, it does look really, really cool. I mean, Cantrell, him hanging his notes, like hanging those notes. I think Angry Chair as an opener a few summers ago was such a nice surprise. It was just such a fun,
yeah,
you know, with the double headline with Korn. But it's the again part where Will comes in with the and Jerry's does the headbang there. I always know he's starting to headbang there, and I'm like, all right, here we go. I mean, it was just so fun.
Yeah. I lost you. Hang on.
Yeah, I got you right here. All right.
The snowstorm is wreaking havoc with our Wi-Fi here.
Just makes it more fun, brother. Just makes it more fun.
Yeah.
Who's the leader in the band?
Every once in a while, you're just kind of going. It sounds bizarre, but I'm getting the gist of most of it.
All right.
Yeah, exactly. Glitching.
Who's the leader in the band, Scotty? Is it Sean or Jerry? I don't know.
Well, you know, they're the two originals. The band's really diplomatic. They all make the decisions on everything that happens. Nobody's really a bully or it's going to be done this way or not. Sean and Jerry are obviously the originals, so I would say they have slightly more say, but they're not. Nobody's a dick about it. Everybody has their part, and everybody does their part really, really well, and everybody respects everybody really well. So there's no dictator or anything there. You know, Jerry probably, being the guy who writes, you know, most of the songs, is I think a lot of people, you know, maybe view him as the, you know, the sort of overall leader. But you know, they make all the decisions together. Nobody like stamps their foot down and goes, it's going this way or no way. So it's everyone. It's all of them. Yeah. Right.
Amen to that. Is there a favorite song they like to perform live?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Everybody likes to play, you know, new stuff because they want to get it out there. Man, favorite song. I mean, there's some songs that are never not in the set. You know, Rooster's in every single set, no matter. Man in the Box is in every set, no matter what. Man, that would be all like celebrate their entire catalog. Mike Inez likes to play all the heavy ones. He just wants to go out and rock it.
He's a metalhead, yeah.
Everybody play, you know, his first band. Years later, he just wants to rock out and have fun and throw down and you know, prove to the world they still have it, which, you know, doesn't need to prove anything to anybody, but that they but man, he just likes to rock out. I kind of like all of it. I didn't actually go into Alice in Chains as a fan. I grew up in, you know, in punk rock, and I didn't really know that much about them, to be totally honest. I didn't really listen to the records or anything like that. So, you know, my first rehearsals were pretty hilarious because they're like, we're going to play Wood. And I'm like, is that an acoustic song? I don't know, you know, because I honestly didn't know, you know, they kind of looked at me like I was insane, like, what do you mean, what is, I'm like, oh, I'm here to work on your gear and, make sure your guitar's in tune. I don't really need to, you don't need to be a fan to do what you do. I'm a fan now, man. You guys are a phenomenal band. But yeah, when I first got there, I was just kind of like, just tell me what you want me to do. But I didn't really have any opinion on anything musically or anything that they had, because I really didn't have much history with them. I was in another world, So I remember coming around and going like, oh, yeah, that's something. At least it's not, doesn't sound too wanky. They sound kind of cool. And then after being with them for a couple of years, I think they're, one of the better bands that's ever been. They're a fantastic band, But took me a while to get there, because I was still all, my punk rock roots or whatnot. But yeah, they're fucking great. That's a great band.
Oh yeah, man. Pittsburgh 2013, we got Rotten Apple. At the Paramount Theater in Seattle in 2016, we got Sunshine, which was amazing. Is there a song that you would love them to play that they don't play too often?
Sunshine they don't play very often, and I like that song. That song's really cool. Actually hit it. Sunshine, it's a funny one for me because we hadn't done that song in a really, really long time. And we have as a tech, you have your set lists and everything, and they, you kind of mark off wherever you're going to change basses or change guitars or whatever for different tunings, or they want to play a certain guitar in certain songs. You have all that noted. And we kind of did this show where Mike didn't come back and change his bass before Sunshine, and Sunshine's in a different tuning. And unfortunately, the low part of the song, the drop D part of the song, doesn't happen until later on in the song. And I was kind of looking at it because we never played it. And I'm like, wait, I think he's supposed to change here. And I'm like trying to get his attention, and he's not looking at me, and I'm yelling at him and trying to throw things at him and stuff. So he'll turn around and they just rip into the song, and I'm standing there going like, am I wrong or is he wrong? What's going on here? And then when it comes into the low part of the song, the note's not there, and he just kind of turns around and looks at me, and I'm holding the right bass go like, I'm trying to get your attention, And I basically screwed up the show, They stopped playing, and they were a good sport about it. They laughed about it. But I was like, man, we've only ever done the show like one time in 10 years. I can't remember what tuning it's in, and it was, 100% my fault. I should have, ran out on stage and just shoved the bass in his hand before they started. But, you kind of like want to be unseen, want it to look professional and all that kind of stuff. And I was quite frankly unsure. I was unsure whether I was right or wrong. And it turns out I was very, very wrong. But it was in front of a huge crowd, and it was really funny, but it was also embarrassing. But hey, stuff like that happens.
It's got to be such a rush to be responsible for the sound that the band is giving off, and their instruments. That's some responsibility, Scotty.
It's a lot of responsibility, especially if you have, a bass tone like Mike Inez's or a bass tone like Justin Chancellor's, because it's so kind of like iconic and so awesome too. Both of their sounds are just so good that, you really have to, you got to strive to, to make sure that it's, 1,000% right when they hit those notes, because everybody wants to hear it and everybody knows it. Everybody knows those sounds. Everybody knows Jerry Cantrell's guitar sound. It's unmistakably his. So every night you got to make sure that is exactly what it's supposed to be. And with a band like Alice or Tool, it's kind of easy because, I love it too. I love their sounds as well. I've worked for bands where I didn't really like their guitar sounds. I didn't think their guitar sounds were good. And trying to make it sound like how I thought they wanted it to sound every night was kind of hard, because I'm like, I don't really like what this guy's guitar sounds like. So I just have to, it's almost like you're working towards to make something that you don't think sounds as good as it should, but it's what they want. And that's your job. It's your job to do what they want you to do. And but with Alice and Tool, it's easy, man. It sounds rad. So it's like really easy to work on. It's like if it sounds really good to me, I know it's going to sound really good to them. And so yeah, it's a lot of responsibility. But after doing it for a lot of years, it's not that hard. You can sort of source problems pretty quickly and make things sound the way that they're supposed to, and consistency is really the thing. Like you want to hear the beginning of Wood, you want to hear that bass sound, man. You want to just tear your head off, you know, and that's exactly, you know, what we try to achieve. And I think we do most of the time. His bass sound is ridiculous. And you know, or Justin with Schism or something like that. It's just like,
Yeah.
man, it comes in and gives you goosebumps because you're like, there it is. And there's that guy doing that thing that we love, you know, and you get to help him do it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, Stone, good song by Alice. It's got that bass, and Rain When I Die. You know, when those come in, you just want to just, you know, the bass face comes out, man. Just
Oh yeah, because it's massive. It's the most massive bass sound. There's just like isn't another sound like his. It's dirty and just mean, and it's just really cool sounding. It's just a cool sound, you know.
Yeah, Mike Starr, the original bassist of Alice in Chains. What do the guys say about Mike Starr? I mean, R.I.P. There's been a few fallen heroes in the band, and the next guy we want to go to is the almighty Layne Staley. But Mike Starr, they still talk about him. They still cheers to him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, they dedicate a song. They'll usually dedicate, you know, Nutshell. I think it's Nutshell usually, but they'll dedicate to both of them every night, to Layne and Mike. Oh man, those guys are a huge part of the history of this band. Obviously, they started with you know, they were involved in the writing process for, you know, a lot of the songs and all that stuff. And yeah, I'll tell you what, you'll never hear from these guys is you'll never hear them speak ill of anyone. They just don't. There's not those people. They, you know, everything that happened with, you know, with each member, you know, that are no longer with us, it stays with them. And you don't hear anything negative ever. They're tight-lipped, as you should be. No one should really say anything about anybody that, you know, you don't want. Right. You know, there's no ill will, but there isn't. You know, it doesn't seem like there needs to be. Everybody loved Layne and everybody loved Mike. You know, I'm not even exactly sure of the circumstances of why Mike Starr was no longer playing with them, but you know, I've never heard like fuck that guy or that guy, this or that, nothing like that ever. So I think they're all very respectful to every person's part that's been involved in this band from the get-go. So they're you know, they were. I think they loved them and still do. You know?
Yeah, this past month with my former guest here on the Alice in April. Let's see, Alice in April. I've heard some really cool stories about Layne, and again, to my viewers here, are you finding any value, having a good time watching our chat? Just hit a like, subscribe, what have you. But we have SCOTTY DACHROEDEN here. You can see him on Instagram and Twitter, right? In Autonomy.
No, I don't have a Twitter account. It's pretty much just Instagram is where you see most of my photos, and on the Alice in Chains websites and the Alice in Chains Instagrams, and on their Twitter. Those are mostly mine. We have another photog that's been with the band for a long time named Todd Shuss, who's just fantastic, and he was with the band. I mean, he lived with some of the guys back when they started the band, and I think some of the guys slept on his couch at one stage. He's been with them since the beginning. The same guy's been there since the 80s pretty much. And he's been shooting a lot of, you know, stuff the whole time. He'll tell you he's not a photographer. That's fucking bullshit. He's really good. And he's got a lot of iconic stuff from their really early days when they were all kind of going through it. And it's beautiful stuff. It's fantastic. It's, you know, iconic.
Yeah. What was his name again? The photographer who's been
Todd. His name's Todd.
Okay.
Todd Shuss. Shuss. He is. It's funny. He's Alice. He's been with Alice, you know, in a couple of different positions forever as a photographer. And his brother is the photographer and cinematographer for Pearl Jam.
Oh, really? Wow. No. Seattle scene. Keep it in the family.
The other way around. Yeah, kind of. I mean, there's a lot of those connections out here that, you know, a lot of good people stay together and stick together and help each other out and drag each other into it, kind of.
Right. Well, Layne Staley, just to wrap up the Alice part of our chat here, any stories that the band shared with you, or any kind of funny inside jokes or anything that you care to share about Layne Staley that you've heard?
There's a lot you can't. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stories, you know. There's a lot you can't tell, and then there's
sure.
once you can. But I think my favorite Layne Staley story is where they were doing a show somewhere. I don't know where it was, but it was a bunch of Nazi skinheads in the audience, and Layne, they were holding signs or something crazy, and Layne was like, "Hey man, come here," and he basically got one of these guys to come up on stage, and then as he got up on stage, Layne knocked him out, just knocked the dude out, knocked the dude off the stage. And I'm not really a violence advocator, but fuck Nazis, like fuck them. Yeah, so yeah, he popped this dude, and when Jerry first told me that story, I was like, oh, that's rock and roll, and that's awesome. And he's just like, fuck, again, fuck Nazis and all that bullshit. So yeah, that's probably one of my favorites. There's other stories. I mean, I think Jerry, he was paying me a compliment. Yeah, he's paying me a compliment. He was saying that he was like, it's kind of good that you weren't around when Layne was around, because you guys would have got in trouble. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of a nice thing to say about somebody that's like that.
Yeah.
The guys are all metalheads for the most part. And Layne's more of a alternative weirdo music guy, which is kind of where I sort of land with my taste. While the guys were doing festivals, Layne was super excited about Ethel Meat Plow playing, and stuff like that. It just kind of like he wanted to go see all the wacky weirdo bands, and the other guys wanted to see the metal stuff. So I think as far as musically goes, maybe some of that stuff we might have got along. At least Jerry seems to think so.
Sure. Yeah, Layne Staley, I heard, if I understand correctly, his first gig ever was Elton John. My girlfriend Ashlyn, she's in the other room, and our first concert was Elton John here in Buffalo, the Almighty. And that's our connection with Layne and Alice in Chains. And it's good for our mood.
He played on Black Goose Way to Blue, right?
Yes, and that last track, the self-titled track.
Yeah.
Great song. What a touching song that is.
Yeah, beautiful song. Yeah. I don't think we've ever done it. I don't think they've ever done it live. If they have,
Cantrell did it in a solo show, which was awesome.
About it a bunch.
Right.
Okay. Oh yeah. The one in LA, the Pico show.
The Pico project or something. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't. I wasn't. I mean, I took the photo for it, but I didn't. But I didn't actually get to go to the show. I don't know what I was doing. Something else. But yeah, it's beautiful. And Elton John is just. He's man, that guy, for an older guy, he is so still tuned in with music. He knows what's going on with everything. That guy's like a big music fan still now, and always wants to find out about new bands. And so Todd Shuss, the guy I was talking about earlier, he used to be Elton John's tour manager. And somebody said, we need somebody to play piano. Todd, hey, you want to call Elton? And he was like, yeah, I'll call him. So he called Elton John, and Elton John said, yeah, of course I'll do that, which is just remarkable,
Oh, wow. And he came into the studio to do this, or was it remotely?
Yeah. Oh, okay. No, I think he did that. He did that remote. I didn't work on Black Goose Way to Blue. I came on right as the album was being done. I believe he did it remotely. I don't think he came into the studio.
Okay.
But, which you can do these days, which is rad.
Yeah. Wow. You mentioned Audioslave. So any moments with Chris Cornell, any days off with Chris Cornell? The guy, you go karting or anything, or?
Chris Cornell, I wouldn't call Chris Cornell and I friends. We're more kind of like loose acquaintances. We had a lot of cool music conversations. He really liked cool music and always has. And a lot of people don't realize, so many of those riffs were his, and he's like, in the weird tunings and stuff were kind of him. He was, he had a really great musical knowledge, and especially a lot of great musical knowledge about, odd bands that people didn't know. We both shared a, love for a band called the Young Gods from Geneva, Switzerland, who are an old weirdo, heavy electronic band. It's just a keyboard player, a singer, and a drummer, but they're really just stunning. And in fact, the what is that song? Black Hole Sun video. Kim is wearing a Young Gods shirt in that video. And I remember seeing that going, whoa, they know who the Young Gods are. Oh, that's weird. And when I talked to Chris, I was like, was it just Kim or were you a fan too? He's like, oh yeah, no, I'm a fan of those guys too. It's basically like, they're basically kind of like a heavy metal Doors, like the Doors, but like a heavy industrial version of the Doors, which sounds really weird, but it's a cool combo and they're a great band. He also liked a lot of Australian stuff as well. He really liked a band called UMI, who were kind of an alternative band in the 90s. And they were, you know, around the scene when I was living in Sydney a lot. And yeah, so a lot of cool musical conversations. He was really knowledgeable, and it's always fun to talk about that stuff that, you know, you can't just look up, you know, now you just look up on the internet, oh, who, and you can look up who they were. But you know, a lot of that stuff early on, you know, you had to go find it. You had to go find it in record stores, or you had to stumble on them somehow. And because, you know, we were fairly close to the same age, I think he went through a lot of the same experiences I did of like discovering music, you know. But very, very nice dude. I think I told a story either on my Instagram or something after he passed about bringing some friends to one of the shows. They really wanted to come and see Audioslave. And I was like, yeah, sure, you know. And we went down into the pit and watched a little bit of the show, and Chris was just like on fire, like he was a lot, and really brooding and dark and everything. And he's just singing this really dark song, and he turns out and he sees me and these two girls sit in the audience, and he literally goes like this, and then like waving at me like a clown, like Mickey Mouse hand clown, and then just goes right back into character, singing again. And I was like, what the fuck was that? Right? My friends are like, was that for you? And I'm like, I'm not sure. That was really weird, you know? And then I talked to him and I was like, was that, I go, were you waving at me? He's like, yeah, of course. I go, what? And he's like, wait, you didn't think that was funny? And I was like, no, that was hilarious. I just wasn't, you know, it was just so out of character and weird. He was actually a pretty funny dude. But yeah, that's when I think about him, that's what I remember more than anything, is that one little moment where it was just kind of like out of character, goofy sort of thing that just sort of didn't seem like it made sense, but it totally made sense. He was just joking around, you know?
Ashley and I have a connection with Chris Cornell too. In fact, right by our bed, we have that big picture of his box set that Jeff Ament had made. I think they won a Grammy or something for best packaging, whatever. Cornell, R.I.P. Cornell. I visited Hollywood Forever Cemetery to see his site, and
Yes.
one of the most powerful pictures I've ever seen in my life, and I have it under my favorites. It's kind of morbid, but someone took a picture of Cantrell standing over his grave, and almost in tears, man. It's like it was such a powerful. He's such a good big influence on the whole scene, and myself included. But the day before Rock on the Range, my brother and I were going to see Soundgarden for our first time. Never happened. A few years later, Alice comes back to Rock on the Range to perform Hunted Down and Boot Camp, which I'd say Boot Camp is probably one of my most listened to Soundgarden songs. So to pick that song, that was great. You know, that was what a good tribute.
This gave me, it was a really powerful moment, and it was really you know, when you get a band that says something like, you know, that does something like, hey, here's this opportunity, we play in front of a huge crowd. We're not going to play our songs. We're going to play, you know, our fallen brother, if you will, a couple of their songs. Like they're going to take that time out of their set to pay homage to, you know, a great band and a you know, a great singer. It was a really cool moment. It really was really cool. I actually did get goosebumps when you mentioned that. I was like, oh yeah, that was amazing. It's cool stuff.
Yeah, love it. What are some of your other favorite hobbies, Scotty, besides teching for badass bands around the world?
Man, I mean, I don't know. It's such a big part of my life. Yeah. You know, I do make some music as well myself. I'm a guitar player. I was a guitar player before I started all of this stuff. Gallery, it's all you know, kinds of I like a lot of that sort of stuff. You can actually, have you ever seen that? Did you see the Scott No Friends video, the bear video?
Yes.
Yeah, that's me. So yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, there's a link. You'll be able to see it. I'll send you the link.
The link below.
Yeah. So Yeah, I've always played music and just as a hobby, pretty much. I stopped trying to be a musician and all that sort of stuff a bunch of years ago when I just got kind of a little bit too old and got a little bit tired of just being broke and all that sort of stuff, and figured out I can make some money, touring with other bands and with the stuff that I already learned by being in a band that was, I was broke and having to fix my own gear all kind of do that, and I was living in Australia. I grew up in Australia, and American bands were coming through, and I was working for a few of those. And then eventually I had to go to America. Australia is not big enough to tour all the time. There's only 5 major cities. So you hit those cities 2 weeks and then you're done. There's nowhere else to go. So in America, once I, figured out I can come to America, man, you play a different show every night for a year in a different city every night for a year. And, so, I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to move to America. I'm going to do this full time. And that's what I've been doing I think I moved here in either 99 or 2000. Moved over to start working for Fear Factory, believe it or not.
Ah, well, their tech Booster does that name ring a bell? Booster?
They're who?
Booster is a tech that he worked with Cold Chamber and Dino Cazares, I think with Assassino. Jimmy Robles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know who you mean. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was when I was there. Dino's tech. I was Christian's tech. Dino's tech was a guy named Larry Malero, who is still one of the best guitar techs I've ever met in my whole life. Unfortunately, he passed a couple of years ago. He was working for Rick Nielsen for Cheap Trick for the last for basically until he passed on. But genius, absolute friggin' genius when it came to guitars and gear and everything. He taught me so much, by basically going like, "What are you doing, you idiot?" Showed me what was up, and man, he was incredible. He was a big loss. It was a real shame to see him go. But he was there, and then Saul Englehart was our for a long everybody, like I said, where everybody takes off and does, when the tour stops, you go off and do another tour. And it's amazing the spider web and the web of people that you get to know after being there for a long time. Because, the same guy who's the lighting tech for, Alice in Chains is also Keith Urban's lighting tech. And you just end up with this like massive network of people that are all over the place. And even though it's, but it's still kind of small in a weird way. It's just a weird community.
Sure.
It's fun.
Good for you. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Just killer. Taylor Bingley. Do you know Taylor Bingley, Gojira, or buddies?
I don't know anybody in the Gojira camp at all. I don't think.
Do you have a nickname?
I don't think I know any of those guys. I don't think so.
Do you have a nickname at all, or no?
I get if there's another Scott on a tour, which there is often. Doc is my name.
Okay.
Yeah, just like an abbreviation of my last name. Like
all right. Doc.
So Scott Doc is what I get a lot. That fat old guy with the dreadlocks, I get that one too, but it's kind of like, I'm pretty recognizable with
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, so, Doc is something that comes up kind of everybody in the family.
Oh, a Doc? Yeah. But Paul Rockman, he was on last week. He directed a documentary in 2006 called American Hardcore. And you're such a big punk rock fan. What are some records? I'm a total punk rock noob. Randy Blythe, he was on a few weeks ago. He mentioned Corrosion of Conformity, actually, and of course Black Flag and the Sex Pistols. Mm-hmm. And Paul mentioned the Clash. So what punk rock records for a complete noob like me? Bad Brains. What do I check out?
You cut out there. What were you asking me? What
punk rock records? Yeah, punk rock records. Which one do I check out, Scotty? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can right now. I can hear you right now.
Sure.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. It's okay. Punk rock records. Which ones do I check out? Which are your go-to?
Man, that's such a loaded question. all of that stuff.
I know you like the Adolescence Blue record. I know you're a big fan
Oh
of
yeah.
that.
Yeah, God, that was a great record. I wanted to be in that band so bad when I was a kid. They're all like 16, 17 years old, and they just made such a great record. That's just such a great record. But all of that stuff is, it's like, if you're talking about original punk rock stuff, I mean, I put the MC5 in original punk rock as well as I do with the Stooges and Iggy, and obviously that first Ramones album. All of those things were just such game changers back, way back when. They really, as far as attitude and sound goes, and it'd be really interesting to see where things, wound up. If it wasn't for the Ramones in that first album, I think that took everybody by surprise because it was so weird and different, and kind of just dark and strange, and also funny at the same time somehow. Those records, first Stooges record, MC5, Kick Out the Jams is wonderful. As far as like original movement stuff goes, I was obviously too young to be, going to see those bands. I was only, 6 or something when some of those early bands were playing. But American hardcore is what like really pushed me over the edge. My brother brought in all the punk rock records to our house when I was a kid. My brother's 2 years older than me, and he kind of started off with that stuff. And I was kind of a metalhead. I liked, Van Halen and things like that. And the more and more I heard of stuff that was coming out of his room, I was like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. And then finally the Dead Kennedys came to Australia in the early 80s. And once I saw them, I was done with everything except for punk. I literally went and sold all of my records so I could buy more punk records. And it changed. It was a game changer. It changed my life completely. It was the most phenomenally original and interesting thing. Even to this day, that gig, the Dead Kennedys playing in 1983 at the Festival Hall in Brisbane, is one of the greatest things I've ever seen. It was so powerful and so just insane. It was insane. And it just, I was 14 or 15 years old. My dad made my brother take me to the show. My brother didn't want to take me. He's like, I want to drag my little brother along. And I was like, I want to see the Dead Kennedys. And went, and it really did change. It changed my life. It changed my everything. It just blew me away. They were just unreal good. And so Dead Kennedys was up there. I really liked that first Suicidal Tendencies record as far as like a crossover, because it got a little bit of my old metal stuff and the new punk rock in there that blew me away. And of course, the Bad Brains. The Bad Brains were just, if you want to check out a record, get the Roar cassette, the Bad Brains Roar cassette. I think you can get it on CD. I'm sure you can get it on CD now. It's ROIR. It was a label that released a bunch of weird, obscure punk stuff, live recordings and stuff. But the Roar cassette of the Bad Brains is one of the finest pieces of music I've ever heard. The Bad Brains blew us away when we were kids. Like you heard them and they're phenomenal. They're tight. They were fast. They invented hardcore for the most part. You got to kind of put the middle class in there, the band, the middle class, because they kind of had the first hardcore single. I mean, they did. And then the Bad Brains came out with Pay to Come, not too long after. And that was just so fast and so crazy sounding. And they were so tight. What the Bad Brains did for punk rock and hardcore is a precision. They brought a precision to that music, because you could arguably say that before that, everybody was kind of sloppy and all over the place. And punk rock was just kind of like, how's it going? But man, when the Bad Brains came out, it was just like, it was such a powerful thing. They really were just awesome. And to this day, I'll still listen to Bad Brains records. You could probably even argue that I have dreadlocks because of the Bad Brains. Just a great band, just total left of field weirdo, reggae hardcore. What the fuck is that? Like who does that? Who plays a show full of in front of a hardcore crowd and then breaks into reggae songs in the middle of it? But everybody just went, oh, that's cool, because both of the genres, they were great at both of those genres, and it was it was pretty cool. So the Brains is definitely up there. I really like the Circle Jerks and the Adolescents and the Black Flag and a lot came out of Orange County and stuff at the time. My brother was English punk rock, the Pistols and all that sort of stuff, which I thought was okay, but the sort of faster with the exception of maybe Discharge, the faster American hardcore is what kind of really got me going. I was like, oh, this is rad, just energy. And I was a skateboarder. So, skating to punk rock or into hardcore was where it was at. It was aggressive and you skated aggressive because of it. And it was, so that's kind of where that comes from. But if you're looking to get, how old are you?
33.
Okay. So a lot of those records, those older records, they're, they maybe don't sound, it's old production. They were, recorded cheaply. They sometimes don't have the impact with younger people because they're kind of like, it kind of sounds like shit. And it's sort of does a lot of those old records. But at the time, that was part of it. It was like, we don't care about your fancy Toto productions, Boston productions. We're going to just go record these whole albums for $2,000 and put them out, Are you familiar with the band Refused?
Refused. I have one of their songs on my iPod, but I'm not familiar, no.
Yeah, there's a record called The Shape of Punk to Come that they're Swedish. They released a record, and that was, I don't want to say that was the last great punk rock record, but after years of not hearing anything that I thought was good, that record came out, and I was like, here we go, man. Here's some dudes from Sweden that they've got it, man. So if you want to check out something that's maybe a little bit more, it's a lot more modern punk. There's a lot more elements of modern music in what they do as opposed to sort of some of the more basic punk rock. Get The Shape of Punk to Come and listen to that record. It's wonderful. It's a fantastic record.
Sweden though, wow. I have a heart for Sweden though, because with my brother and I, we're diehard Opeth and Ghost fans. So I'll check. Yeah, I'll check out.
I know Tobias. He's an awesome dude. Very, very, very cool person. I've done a lot of stuff with Ghost. Ghost actually opened up for Alice on a whole European tour.
Did they? Was that which tour was that, Scotty?
It was man, I wish I could tell you the year. I'm really bad at remembering the years of things happened. But the Walking Paper. It would have had to have been Dinosaur record. So Duff McKagen's was playing in a band called the Walking Papers. They opened, Ghost went on, and then we went on after. And it was awesome. Another just great tour full of great people.
Dude, I saw Walking Papers in this basement club in Prague, Czech Republic. Duff McKagen was right there. It was just right there. So it must have been right around that time overseas then.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah. Duff is just, I can't say enough good things about Duff either. He's just he's a nice dude, man. Always liked him, even though I wasn't really a Guns N' Roses fan. I always liked Duff because Duff kind of came from punk and all of that stuff, like the Spaghetti Incident and all that stuff. That was all Duff. Duff pushed all those punk rock covers into the band. It was all him. Which and he was super cool. But I do have a funny Refused story. I was doing a festival in Canada. It was this super strange festival where the dressing rooms were on the other side of a lake, and you had to it happens every year. It used to be a punk rock fest, now it's kind of everything, but you get in these little boats, and the boats take you over to your dressing room, and everybody lines up, and it's like this weird little show thing. So the show's over, and I'm trying to get back to my dressing room, and I'm standing in a line, and all of the are in the middle. And the guy who's running the boats points to Jack and Kyle and goes, hey, if you guys want to come to the front of the line, come up. And Jack Black goes, if you think I'm walking in front of Refused, you're out of your fucking mind, man. and all the guys kind of cracked up. So basically, the ferry went off, and it was just Refused, Jack and Kyle, and me. And we were the only people on the but about halfway across the lake, I just kind of blurted out, if this thing sinks, nobody's going to be talking about me.
Oh.
and everybody just cracked up, and it was kind of but it was like a moment, they'd go two guys from Refused drowned, and we lost Jack Black, and there was some other idiot there. That's exactly how that would have went down.
Bumfuck Festival in Canada. Was that in Ontario? Was it way north, or do you know where it was?
It was somewhere north of Montreal.
Oh, okay. Up in Quebec.
It was the festival was somewhere north of Montreal. I can't remember what it's called. It still happens all the time. It started out as a punk festival. Now, I've done it with Rob Zombie. I've done it with Alice. I've done it with a few people. I did it with Rob. When I did it with Rob Zombie, the Snoop Dogg was the act that went on before us. It's a really strange festival, but it's really cool. It's really rad, really eclectic.
I want to find that festival. I'll include a link to the website below.
Yeah.
Man, you just brought up so many things. I could have you on literally for another hour and 15. This has been so nice, dude.
I know. I talk. I'm a talker.
Dude, like Duff, like he's my favorite gunner too, for those same reasons you mentioned. And I'm sure you had so many cool punk rock conversations with him. And I want to have a shout out to Duff because, you know, he's him and Randy Blatt are the ones that are starting to open me up to some punk rock, and yourself included. So hell yeah. Last question, Scotty. You seem like a horror fan, just judging by your Instagram page. You seem like a really big Shining fan. I don't think I've seen any movie besides The Matrix more than The Shining. So do you have a favorite musical moment in The Shining?
Man, the soundtrack to The Shining is so good. Man, so much of it is good. I guess specifically, I think the second time that he sees the Grady twins in the hallway, and there's all those orchestral stabs and stuff. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Like that. The composer, man, so haunting and so like non-musical, just like weird noises and sounds, which is something that I love. It was so eerie, and there's just like and so atonal too, just so many notes all being played at the same time, and it was aggressive, like the scene was kind of, you know, little kid and you know, incurring these ghosts. Probably that. The second time he comes up on him, and then he's in there, and you know, you see the bloody bodies and everything like that, and
Denny,
just like gang, like all the weird strange. Yeah, exactly. You know, beautiful. It's just beautiful. It's just like bone chilling. You know, wonderful stuff.
Killer movie. Stanley Kubrick, who directed it. I just saw Space Odyssey 2001 last night for my very first time, and I see the correlation there. But the intro to The Shining, where they're driving along in the mountain, you know, that's awesome. Kirk Hammett from Metallica, he had a horror museum at the Peabody Essex Museum in Salem, Massachusetts, a few years ago, and he drove into town with his rental car, I think from Boston, to the Shining soundtrack into Salem, Massachusetts. Imagine doing that, man. That'd be pretty
nice.
Pretty freaky, right?
Oh, yeah.
But
that'd be creepy as hell.
Yeah. So, dude, next week is 1 year since I've had my podcast, YouTube show, I Ask No One, which is a line from Metallica's Wherever I May Roam, seen the band 38 times around the world. I have them to thank for the show. And next week, I'm talking about Wolfgang Puck Hotel Bel Air. I was a front-end manager there for a few years in LA, met a lot of cool people. So it's going to be part 4 of me talking about all the celebrities that I've met. Yeah. And this is it. This is the last interview I'm having in my first year on this podcast. It's been an honor. And on Sunday, on May the 2nd, it's going to be 1 year. And on that day, you mentioned you're from Australia. I have one of my most listened to instrumentalists. His name is Martin Kennedy with All India Radio. He has agreed to come on I Ask No One and talk about his new record. And I love the stuff, man. I got your email. I'm going to email you some of his stuff. I spent some time in Bondi Beach too, by the way.
What's his name?
His name is Martin Kennedy with All India Radio. All India Radio. Yeah. It's okay. It's great for all moods. Love it. But stay happy, stay healthy, stay hungry, and stay heavy, man. Thank you so much for the time.
I lost you on that. Were you signing off?
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time, Scotty.
Absolutely, man. Thanks so much. I don't really do these kind of things very often, but Paige Hamilton's all right. So thank you for having me on, man. I'm honored to be in touch.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, thank you. You were just saying something about Paige. What was that about Paige, Scott? Did you say something about Paige Hamilton of Helmet? You said Paige.
Yeah. Paige, and you know, your interview with Kevin were both cool. Paige is such a rad dude, and he's a great guy. He's a friend of mine. I've actually teched for Paige for a few shows, and he's a phenomenal musician and a rad dude. So when I saw you interviewed him, I was like, well, I can't really say no to something that Paige said yes to. So I did.
Cool. Nice.
All right, man.
Hey man, when you're on your motorcycle, make sure your dreads don't get caught in the tires or anything. All right.
Oh, I tie them up. Trust me, because it gets cool.
All right, man.
Very cool, man. Well, thanks a lot for having me on, dude.
Thank you.
So be safe, and you know, wash your hands, wear your mask, and exactly. Yeah. All right, dude. We'll talk soon.
Take
it easy.
See ya.